Hello, my guests today are Desirae Thompson, Chief Operating Officer, and Ashely Frankos, Clinical Director from Youth Intensive Services. Ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
Tell me your role and what you are seeing in the individuals that come in for your services, specifically with regard to trauma.
So I'm the Clinical Director at Youth Intensive Services, and trauma is very common, very potent right now in the society. So what we're seeing is it's not always traditionally what people see as PTSD. We're seeing, kids who are aggressive, kids who are losing sleep, kids who have poor hygiene. It's not just, when you think of PTSD and you think of flashbacks. It's more to it than that, and it's showing in their behaviors. We're getting referrals in the schools. We're getting referrals for outpatient services. And these kids, maybe people don't recognize that what they experience is trauma and that these behaviors are a result of trauma.
Every day, dealing with your role and as well as yours as Clinical Director, the impact this is having on both your budget and outcome for services and needs. Are you seeing an increased need for your services?
Absolutely. Like Ashely mentioned, referrals are coming through the door, and a lot of the issues are people do not recognize what trauma is to begin with. So they don't recognize the fact that they even need help. So that's the first step. And then recognizing where they're able to get help. And there's still that stigma around mental health, trauma, and I think the word is becoming desensitized somewhat because, people are using it a lot and they're not really understanding the true meaning that your trauma does not look like my trauma. And so they're not taking into account, all the different factors that play into what someone's trauma, looks like.
Let's talk a little bit about the fact that individuals don't recognize the fact that they are experiencing quote-unquote trauma. And how do we then, as neighbors, family members, come to terms with that and address that issue with that individual?
Well, I think the first thing is, normalizing it. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with acknowledging that I need help or there's things that I cannot navigate through in life. So making it a normal part of everyday life and that it's okay to receive help, that's the first thing that we have to do.
As clinicians, you address a specific area of the mental health. Who are some of the partners that share your, shall we say, program and come in or are referrals for the individuals that you serve?
So we're currently working with a lot of different school districts in Trumbull and Mahoning County. They give us referrals for our school-based programs. And then there's also a lot of agencies within the community that refer students to us. So we've had Oakwood Counseling in Warren, we've had Cadence Cares giving us referrals, and we're also referring our students out as well when there's services that they may need that we don't have.
I want to thank you both for the in-depth discussion, and we're going to continue this frontline mental health work tomorrow in our discussion as we look at ways to slow violence in our neighborhoods. I'm Dee Crawford, Community Affairs Director, WKBN.